Hey everyone, today's video I want to talk about this huge fine that TikTok just got hit with, being $368 million. And the bizarre thing to me is where it came from, being issued by Ireland's Data Protection Commission for breaching EU privacy laws for children. I understand that TikTok is a huge juggernaut of social media app, so even though this sounds like an insane amount, they can probably handle this. But regardless, the fine is so big that it's nearly impossible to ignore, and usually these kinds of fines happen during an investigation that happen behind the scenes that most people don't pay attention to. But I wanted to talk about it because there are some parts that make me feel bad for TikTok, apart from the massive fine. Because the investigation started back in 2021, so there are a lot of parts of the apps that changed during that time. But the investigators were still now willing to recheck the parts that they fixed that previously breached the laws. And there were some legitimate improvements they made that fixed the problems that were caused back then. So some people behind TikTok are a bit pissed that they used a really early version of the app back when it blew up. And to be honest, that's a pretty unfair decision to make, because when an app blows up like TikTok did back in 2021, there will be parts that cause some issue, especially when it's owned by a Chinese company like ByteDance. But because TikTok got so big, there were a lot of concerns about it, with the EU especially being worried about them breaching child privacy laws. One thing I don't understand is why it took so long to finish the investigation, with it now being done for over 2 years. Which feels like a really long time just to check rules they have in place for children who make accounts on the app. And after I checked the parts they were upset about, it didn't really feel like they did a deep search into the app. It was just really basic stuff that any person would check in a short amount of time. Of course, I'm not saying they weren't breaching privacy laws, but they could have definitely finished this investigation way sooner. But maybe they had to go a long process to set up the fine, where I imagine all the work goes into. But anyways, I'm not going to talk about the parts the Irish Commission were the most upset about, which have now been changed in 2023. The first one being whenever someone makes an account on TikTok, their account settings are automatically public as opposed to private. So whenever a child or teenager makes one and posts TikToks on it, anyone can see and comment on it. So naturally, that will be pretty concerning, because this is how many child predators prey on kids, and then try to get in contact with them, also posting really sexual comments on their stuff to get their attention. Which also leads to another issue, where people can DM users between 16 or 17 without their consent, which is of course the most common way a predator can try to talk to them. To be honest, this would be the things I'd be worried about if I had a kid and they were on TikTok. Especially when the app first blew up and you had a huge influx of kids coming in to make accounts. And in the past, there have been a lot of popular TikTok creators who call grooming children or being creepy. So it's only normal to worry about how safe your kid is on the app. But now, by 2023, TikTok has fixed a lot of these issues, with now the automatic account setting being private for people who are under 16, and starting DMs with people not being disabled if they're between 13 and 15. So these problems were fixed, but they still have to pay a fine for it. Even though some of these fixes were even made before the investigation started, back in 2021, TikTok's head of privacy even mentioned in the blog post how dumb it was that they were being critiqued for stuff that they fixed back at the start of the year, making the investigation a bit outdated. So I can understand why they'd be pissed about it, because now at this point just feel like they're taking the money, even though they already fixed the issues. There was another problem that the commission was upset about, that being the family pairing mode wasn't strict enough. This mode was designed for parents to control their kids' account settings, but I'm guessing there were some limitations that didn't give them enough control. They also started TikTok pushing teenagers for more privacy intuitive options. I haven't seen anything about the family pairing feature being changed, but I imagine by now it's been updated. But it's already late for that, because they still have to pay that massive almost $400 million fine, which to me is so mind-blowing. There's actually a similar event that happened on TikTok just like this, back in April of this year, except it was kind of small in scale. That time, the fine was £12.7 million and it was given by a UK commission for using children's data. The commission said that TikTok took no extra steps to get parental consent or abide by safety laws. So it already reflects a lot of this fine they have this month. Except this time, they put way more emphasis on the people affected, with them saying over 1 million under 13-year-olds went to TikTok even though they shouldn't have, and had their data collected. One major difference between this fine and the one back in April was that TikTok was actually able to argue the case and have the fine cut in half. So they did have some room to defend themselves and prove they were actually making an effort to protect children's data. It makes me feel like there's going to be the same outcome for this fine this month, because they have a lot of evidence to prove they were actually following safety laws. Plus, if they were able to cut 12 million in half, they'll probably be able to do the same for 400 million. Especially with how drawn out, outdated the investigation was. At the end of the day, even though it sounds like an insane amount, it's really not that much with how much ByteDance makes from TikTok, with them making $80 billion from last year. This is really common with tech companies, where they get a fine for breaching laws, but then they make that money back in a day. I even saw people on Twitter joke about how TikTok is laughing at how small the fine is, which to be honest feels pretty realistic. On the other hand, I saw people being happy for this, because how much they hate TikTok, and this is gonna be the downfall of the app. But I really think these people underestimate how huge the company is, because I can't see how smart this small would affect them. And if it really was a big threat, they would fight incredibly hard to avoid it. I think at this point, massive social media apps are hated so much that people just want to see something bad happen to them. In terms of the fine they have right now, they might be able to cut it in half like they did in April, but we'll just have to see. So hopefully there's a video and I'll see you next time. Bye.